What's up, friends? I am Miranda. This is Miranda in the Wild, and in this video I am answering some of the most Googled backpacking questions. So while you could just read the Google answer, instead I'm gonna answer them. What's better than Google is probably a friend. Would you rather have Google answer your question or like a cool friend?
Who's the cool friend?
I am the cool friend.
This is my show, gosh darn.
Answering the most Googled backpacking questions, starting with, can backpacking packs be carry-ons? Yes, backpacking bags are subject to the same dimensions and restrictions that any other carry-on would be. If it fits within the dimensions of your airline, then yeah, it can be a carry-on. Can backpacking be a hobby? I hope so. It's my hobby. Yeah, backpacking is totally a hobby. Just like hiking is a hobby, collecting stamps, if you do it for fun and you enjoy it, then it's a hobby. Can you go backpacking while pregnant? I've never been pregnant, so obviously I'm not an authority on this topic. If you've been told that you are healthy and cleared to do it, then just listen to your body and enjoy the trail. But it's kind of cool to take an unborn baby backpacking. Can you go backpacking with a dog? Oh yeah, you can totally go backpacking with a dog. I used to backpack with my dog Nala all the time, and if you haven't seen some of my past videos with Nala, highly recommend you check those out. Nala passed away last year, but she was an amazing backpacking buddy. It's really fun and rewarding to do that with your animal friend. You really have to put a sad one in here on the first slide. Can you go backpacking on your period? Totally. So one of the very first videos that I did for Miranda in the Wild, I actually talked about backpacking on your period. It requires a little bit more management of mess and comfort, but totally you can go backpacking on your period. It's also totally fine to make the decision to not go backpacking while you're menstruating, but there's no reason not to beyond just your own personal comforts. Next, does backpacking build muscle? Yeah, I think so. Hold on, now that I'm saying this, does backpacking build muscle?
It's like weightlifting
yourself
for 3 hours.
Right.
You're putting your body under mechanical load. And
You're putting your body under mechanical load. When you are backpacking, you are carrying a heavy pack, exerting yourself, walking for long distances. Any type of physical exercise like that is going to ultimately help build muscle and strengthen the muscles that you have. Does backpacking mean camping? Yes. So backpacking means that you are hiking and you are camping, because if you aren't camping, then you aren't backpacking. This is kind of like if all Whoozits are thingamabobs, but only some floozies are thingamabobs, then are all Whoozits floozies? It's like that.
Yeah, that's very clear now.
Does backpacking get boring? Yes. If the trail is really boring, if you've been doing it for a long time, you're tired, the weather sucks or whatever, yes, it can absolutely be boring. Does backpacking change you? That's a question. Physically, yes, it changes you because you're just doing this activity and you get better at it. And so I guess you can see some physical change, but emotionally and mentally, it can definitely have a positive impact. Backpacking has been absolutely a force for good in my life. This idea of carrying all of your stuff and being so self-reliant, so kind of in tune with the world around you and the people around you, I think it absolutely has the power to change you if that's what you're looking for. Yep. Great. Does backpacking hurt your back? If your pack fits right, if you have the right gear, and if you are in a situation where your back and your muscles are strong enough to hold all of that, no, it shouldn't cause any long-term injury. But does it hurt sometimes? Yeah, for sure. I've gotten bruises on my shoulders and my hips. Sometimes it's uncomfortable, sometimes it hurts. I promise it's still worth it. Where to go backpacking? Whether it's a primitive site, an established campsite, or dispersed camping on a trail, most parks around the country have some kind of restriction. So as long as you're abiding by those restrictions and camping in designated or open camping areas, then you can go backpacking there. Where to rent backpacking gear? REI! There are a limited number of rental locations around the country, but REI does rent full backpacking kits. Where to carry gun while backpacking? God. Ooh, this question's making me squirmy. I don't like it. I don't know. I don't ever carry a gun while backpacking, so that's my answer. Where to shower when backpacking? I have this image in my brain, at least, of people rinsing off in a stream or whatever, but you actually shouldn't do that. Ideally, if you're going to shower, if you're gonna wash your hair, if you're gonna use any type of soap or clean any sort of poopy parts of your body, you should do all of that away from a water source so that you are not contaminating that water source. The better question here would be how to shower. There are some packable showers that you can use, or you can use a cloth and some biodegradable soap. Yeah, that's that answer. Is backpacking fun? Yes. Is backpacking expensive? It can be. I did do a video where I tried to go backpacking on $200 or less, which was possible, but it was a bit of a challenge.
My pack is starting to feel a bit uncomfortable.
I was not warm last night.
There are some awesome resources, whether it's renting gear, borrowing gear from friends, looking for things used, that can kind of be managed. Is backpacking a sport? So, yeah, sure, why not? Is backpacking safe? Like any activity, it can be safe and it also can be dangerous. Everything that I've ever learned about backpacking is just ways to sort of mitigate these risks and make it as safe as possible. But that doesn't mean that there aren't certain risks involved. Is backpacking alone safe? See above. The best way in which we can make backpacking safe is to be prepared about the trail where you're going, the conditions that you should encounter, and to make sure you're informing people of where you are. You can carry a satellite messenger, you can take a wilderness first aid class, backpacking with other people, and preparation also includes having an alternative plan in case something goes wrong. Thank you very much. Is backpacking hard? Yes, it can be really exhausting, it can be like physically demanding, but it doesn't have to be. If you want the answer to be yes, then the answer is yes. If you want it to be no, then the answer is no. What backpack should I get? You should consider the cost of the pack, the capacity of it, the weight of it, what type of backpacking you're gonna be doing, how much stuff you plan on carrying. All of those factors contribute to choosing which backpack you should get. My recommendation would be to go into your local REI, get fitted for a pack, and find one that is gonna work for the trip that you are doing. What backpacking gear do I need? At bare minimum, need the 10 essentials: food, water, fire, fix-it, first aid, insulation, illumination, navigation, sun, and shelter. So those are the 10 categories of things that you will need for backpacking. What backpacking stove should I get? I did actually do a video where I compared the most common types of backpacking stoves. I use an isobutane propane stove, the Snow Peak Gigapower, and I love it. But you might hate it, so. What backpacking is really like? Ooh, am I allowed to say this? It's a lot less like Wild. If you've ever like seen the movie or watched the book Wild, I think backpacking is a lot more if you've ever had to like walk home carrying really heavy bags of groceries and you have to pee. People sometimes expect that backpacking is always gonna be beautiful and fun and like emotionally moving. That's not really the case. And that's like what makes it so fantastic. You might have backpacking trips that are incredible and that do change you. And you might also have backpacking trips where you're like, that sucked. And like, I wish I'd stayed home and watched movies all weekend instead. All these pieces are all coming from this idea of like sleeping outside and cooking outside and all these like aspects of our lives that are crucial. It's like you put that into this factor of walking through the woods and like moving yourself forward. And it's hard to not feel like you can take some aspect of that and use that to like move your life forward, whatever direction you want to go.
Sounds a lot like the motion picture Wild.
What backpacking tent? I can't tell you what backpacking tent is best for you, but I can tell you that the difference between a backpacking tent and a car camping tent is that a backpacking tent is small and light enough to be carried in your backpack. Probably my favorite backpacking tent right now would be the Big Agnes Copper Spur UL2. Lots of different tents out there, lots of good options. How backpacking changed my life. I went backpacking honestly because I worked at REI and because my coworkers recommended it. Basically, it was a terrible trip. We like got back after one night spent out in the woods and I was like, that was awful. I want to go again next weekend and do it better. So for me, I think it just gave me this thing that I was so in love with and this experience that I just craved more of, and that changed the whole trajectory of my life. Backpacking, how to pack. So I have done a video on how to pack your backpack. You'll want to pack your bag by putting your light fluffy sleeping bag on the bottom, piling your heavy things sort of in the middle of the pack close to your back, and then filling in the lighter weight stuff that you have to get to quickly around the front and the top of your pack. Backpacking, how much water? You should have a liter of water for every 3 miles that you are hiking. Speaking of water, great. Backpacking, how much weight? So your pack should ideally weigh no more than 25% of your body weight. Backpacking, how much food per day? What I like to do is calculate how many calories I burn on like an average day and then plan to carry an additional 1,000 calories for backpacking. You should also always carry an extra day's worth of food in case something happens and you wind up on the trail for longer than you anticipated. You should never skimp on the number of calories and the amount of food that you eat while backpacking. Eat all the stuff. Backpacking, how big of a pack? The size of your pack is going to depend on the size of your gear. I think most people backpack with bags somewhere in the 55 to 65 liter range. I found personally that a 55 liter pack is kind of perfect. Backpacking, how far per day? Gosh, Chelsea, what was your like mileage on the PCT?
Between 25 and 30.
What would you say ideal backpacking trip mileage per day?
I feel like
What would you say?
Usually I'm most excited by like 8 to 20.
It's a huge range. Personally, there's no need to do more than like 10 to 15 miles per day. For me, an 8-mile day is like perfect. That's a really comfortable amount of time for me to drive to the trailhead, hike into camp, set up camp, and then pack up in the morning, hike back out, and drive home. When we are filming, we tend to do way shorter mileage because filming and like stopping to do all of that just takes more time. Last question, backpacking, how to poop. Unless your backpacking site has an outhouse or has a pit toilet, most likely what you'll have to do is bury or carry your poop. So either dig a cat hole, poop in it, bury the poop, carry out your toilet paper and other stuff, or poop on the ground, pick it up with like a wag bag and carry that out in a poop tube. Otherwise, how to poop backpacking is just the same way that you poop at home. You just squat down and relax.
Like
Cut that part out of the video. I don't need to tell you how to poop unless you're like a baby. If you're like a kindergartner. Kindergartner's not a poop. I wore diapers till I was 5, so. At night, I would pee my pants, and so I wore diapers till I was 5. My sister made me a little paper bear that wore a diaper and had a toothbrush in its hand because I didn't like brushing my teeth and I wore diapers and I was embarrassed. Love you, Sophia. You're the best. And the end. You know, backpacking is kind of a weird, scary thing. If you've never thought about it before, if you've never met anyone that's been backpacking before, if you're doing it for the first time as an adult, I feel like asking a lot of questions is a really great way to get some information and to get started. Thanks to everybody who Googled these often enough to make them the most Googled backpacking questions, because this was fun. As always, if you enjoyed this video, hit the like button, subscribe to the REI channel, and subscribe to the Miranda in the Wild channel, and I will see you all in the wild. Bye. God, I can't believe that I told this camera that I wore a diaper till I was 5.
No one like forced you into
I know. We're gonna cut that out, right? I'm gonna get like a message from my mom. My mom's gonna be like, Miranda, like talking about yourself.